fivefold will take a step back, not try to gain any clout, not try to gain any status, not try to gain any fame, but pull back and listen for my voice. Listen for my instructions. Listen for my motivation. Listen for my direction. And wait for my timing. Because all that I am giving you, I'm going to allow you to release in my timing. But I haven't aught against my fivefold, because my fivefold, number one, begin to operate outside of what they had been called into. And they had begun to speak out of turn. When I had not released a thing, they released it prematurely. And the hearts and the minds of the people were not conditioned to receive it just yet. And now the people are faltering. Now the people, oh my God, are running away. Now the people are operating in fear. And he says, now that it has come to my attention and it's been made clear that I cannot trust, oh my God, some of the people who are operating in my fivefold. I cannot trust them to be obedient to what I am calling them to do. I cannot trust them to be obedient to do it the way that I told them to do it. I told them by way of my word in Proverbs to lean not to thine own understanding. I told them by way of Micaiah, oh my God, to not try to fit in with the spirit of the 400 prophets, but listen for my voice and not prophesy in concert with what everybody else is saying. But I tried to get them to wait so that I can impart in them piece by piece what is needed in this season. But the Spirit of God says that some of them did not obey. Therefore, the Spirit of God says that I'm not using everybody in this season to do this work. The Spirit of God says I am situating a remnant of my servants. Whether you are an apostle, whether you are a prophet, an evangelist, a pastor, a teacher, no matter what your position or your title is, I am handpicking, I am strategically selecting individuals in this season who are willing to stand uncompromised, unadulterated, to declare my word of truth. In this season, as I've said it for First Lady Nesbitt, that this is the season of warning and correction. God says, because I cannot trust them, I myself, oh my God, he says, I myself, I will arise. Isaiah chapter 33, he says in verse 10, now I myself will arise. If you who are Bible readers will go back to Isaiah 32 and verse 1, he says that the King, oh God, of righteousness shall reign, and his princes, oh my God, he says he will reign in righteousness, and his princes will rule in judgment. He says, I myself am going to descend, and I am going to reign in the earth realm. But my princes, the ones who I strategically select, they are going to rule in judgment. God says, I am handpicking those who are going to speak what I tell them to speak, operating in the Jeremiah Commission, not being afraid of the faces of the people. We were engaged in a conversation about the presidential debate on last week. And one of the things that myself and my ambassador were talking about is how in the midst of preparation, Senator Biden had a confidence in himself. Even on his infomercials and his commercials, he had a confidence within himself in front of the camera with his team around him. Oh my God, that he could speak with confidence what had been given to him as a plan and as a procedure. But when he came to the debate, God help me today, when he came to the debate and he came face to face with the enemy, it seemed like in so many ways he folded in his articulation to produce or articulate his plan and his procedure. I use that as an illustration to how the men and women of God are now serving in the kingdom. Before this situation arises in the earth realm, it seems as though we had so much confidence. We walked in so much authority. You could not shake our faith. You could not knock us off of our stand. Oh, but when we came face to face with the end time, and when we came face to face with what was allowed to take place in the earth realm in this season, the Bible says that the men and women of God begin to scatter. Oh my God. And God says, now I will arise. And the Bible says this, that when he arises, those that were not walking authentically, those that were not walking and working true, those who were not working and walking authorized, they were working and walking unauthorized. God says, the Bible says, they begin to scatter. If you look at the times in which we are in, so many people who were operating in the gift of prophecy, in the office of an apostle, who are pastors, who are traveling the world as evangelists, those who are even teachers, have walked away from their calling. Because God now says, because I cannot trust the people, oh God, now I will arise. God says, I'm taking my throne in this season.